Mike, when you look on the rest of this from here until, I guess, let's say the season, not even the season, training camp, what's one thing that could possibly happen that we actually care about, that makes some news, that actually gets someone to, gets a GM to say, come out of his vacation home and make a call or something?
Yeah, look, I'm not aware of anything right now. I'm sure there's something. When you're plugged into everything that's happening, there isn't one thing that stands out. There isn't some major trade that I think could happen, which means a major trade will happen tomorrow. There isn't a looming contract problem. I mean, you've got guys who are staying away from OTAs, but those things tend to work out. The one hot spot where I feel like they just don't know how to get themselves out of the corner they've painted themselves into is the Cowboys. They've got the issue with Dak Prescott twice now. They've got the issue currently with CeeDee Lamb. And I don't think Micah Parsons is walking through the door until he gets his contract. And I don't know how they're going to work these things out. I think Micah should be the top priority, frankly. He's the future. He's one of the best defensive players we've seen in a very long time. But how the Cowboys are actually going to field a competitive team when they've handcuffed themselves over these three young players and they can't get out of this mess they made dating back to when they first had Dak Prescott's contract to renegotiate. I think that's what's amazing to me. I don't know why they have any real expectations. They're not better than they were last year. If anything, they're worse. And the Eagles, if they get their act together, the Cowboys are going to have a rough year. And it's all because they're stuck in this mud with Prescott, Lamb, and Parsons.
And it's definitely a prove a year for Big Mike, right? I mean, this is...
Yes.
Yeah, right? So he's...
Last year of his contract.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones, for as rich as he is, he's cheap. And he doesn't like to pay people to not work for him. He didn't fire McCarthy primarily because he would have had to pay him to not work in 2024. So play out the year, and I think Belichick, your guy... Belichick may be the ace in the hole next year if it doesn't work out with McCarthy.
He might enjoy media too much to go back to coaching. I mean, there's a chance. The shit that he's lined up for this fall should be pretty epic.
Awesome.
Like what Bill is going to do this fall, I think should be pretty epic. For a guy whose press conferences were must watch for him saying nothing, I think there's about to be a lot of football knowledge that's about to get spilled. Does that heighten the interest from teams for Bill Belichick? I would assume yes. You know, that would certainly be the yes. But people have tied him to Dallas literally since
from jump.
The moment. Why is just because Jerry and Bill could coexist? Why is that the case? And what are some other situations you think that are maybe looming for old Bill Belichick if he gets back into the game of head coach?
If you look back at the press conferences from the times the Cowboys and the Patriots have played each other in recent years, and they don't play very often, every time Belichick glowing about Jerry and Stephen Jones and the work they do in Dallas, the team they've put together. And Jerry, after he issued the statement that Mike McCarthy isn't getting fired, at some point after that, he talked about how he could employ Bill Belichick. Now, some would say when it's time to actually go do it, Bill may not like the way Jerry does things. But I think they could get together because I think that's the one place where Bill Belichick wouldn't feel compelled to take over. Let Jerry and Steven and the structure they have in place put the team together. You know, you don't need to shop for the groceries to cook the meal if you have a fully stocked kitchen, and the Cowboys have plenty of talent if they can figure out how to keep them around. But I think what he's doing with you this year, what he's doing with Peyton this year is genius because one of the big challenges for Bill Belichick, I believe, is to get a fan base sufficiently excited about 72-year-old Bill Belichick walking through the door in 2025, because I don't think there were many fan bases clamoring for him after it went sideways in New England. But if he does more stuff with you like what he did during the draft and when he's on Peyton's show on Monday nights, I mean, that's a way for him to maybe light the fuse to get a fan base saying, we want that guy next year. And ultimately, it's a business about getting people to show up for the games and watch your games and feel good about the team. You get a fan base behind, or multiple fan bases behind Bill Belichick, he'll have a job next year.
He was awesome at the Draft Spectacular.
Unbelievable.
The night before the Draft Spectacular, at our little production dinner, we'll call it, awesome. Mm-hmm. I mean, just the whole lead up to it, awesome. He was... And obviously the stories and the amount of respect that every person in football has for him. You just walk by people that are legends in football, and they're the ones that are going out going, Mr. Belichick, Mr. Coach Belichick, Coach, like trying to tell his stories. It's fascinating because he's how many games away?
I believe he is 14 or 15 wins away from setting the record.
Being the all-time winning coach, it's like as competitive as he is, as much of a historian of the game that he is, I mean, that's obviously just sitting there, lingering at all times. I'll be excited to see how it works out.